Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and a game between Empires Happy versus Empires Kaz, a Terran versus Terran here on Tal'Darim Altar. This was labeled as game number 4, but since it's been so long since I've actually cast games 1, 2, and 3 that I really don't know the outcome, so the winner of this does win the series, I believe, and I would hope so, otherwise I am completely confused. Apparently they're talking about the tournament breakdown. So far, let's take a look into the game. We have Happy spawning as the yellow Terran player here at the 7 o'clock position. Meanwhile, we have Empires Kaz spawning as the green Terran here at the 2 o'clock position. Terran versus Terran here on Tal'Darim Altar. Should be a great game and a great matchup. Now, I know a lot of you guys out there have been wondering and asking. I am fixing my audio issues, and a lot of you guys out there were like, hey, you're going to ask for donations? Well, since you guys offered, I will be accepting donations. I'm not quite sure where to put the PayPal link any longer, as my YouTube channel doesn't really have it. Perhaps I can put it on my Facebook. Anyways, for the total cost of all the sound equipment, I believe comes about to $160, $170. I'm not trying to do anything too crazy with the sound equipment, just a portable digital recorder for all of my interviews that I have, because the sound audio on those isn't up to snuff. And in addition to that, I'm going to be getting a one-channel mixer, and also just some cables. And anyone who's in the sound industry knows that for some reason cables tend to add up very quickly. Alright, let's take a look at the game so far. SCV still wandering around, and Kaz is going for that 1 racks expand. Meanwhile, Happy went for the much more traditional 12 racks followed by a 13 refinery. And this is going to be your standard play. So far, Happy just mining away on gas, no problem. Should be able to set up another supply depot here in just a moment, and then start adding on, and then start building up that factory. We could see a tech lab being added, but I can't really imagine why he would go for a tech lab there, as we now see an SCV wander across the map. We are going to see one command center here about halfway completed. We are getting up that second supply depot here, and Happy may try to build a command center here. That wouldn't be too out of the ordinary, essentially building up a command center right here to allow yourself a true wall-in. But then again, that's a strategy used more against Zerg and Protoss. Off over here, we are going to see the factory being tucked away, so Happy really trying to hide his tech. Meanwhile, SCV is wandering around here, and may get the kill. One more shot is needed. The SCVs are going to be wandering around together, and it looks as though Kaz may end up losing this SCV as well. If this SCV does get to work, no, it is not. Happy does need to run away now, as he knows that this one SCV is not going to be doing much of anything. There is a bunker now being established, and this is going to be huge. An SCV could make its way over and now start shooting down that Marine, who is going to be dealing the most damage first. SCV's battling it up, and that SCV needs one more shot. One more shot, but a little bit of a dance here, as now 2 Marines better than 1. Now pushing in, that Marine does need to back off here, and it is going to be 2 Marines to 3 now. Somehow, yes, double racks by Kaz. The bunker is canceled here, as we are now seeing one SCV try to make its way inside the base. A new Marine will be trained. We are going into a Hellion starport here, and this is going to be a little bit of an issue. Kaz is, if he actually spots the amount of gas that is being harvested, knows that the second gas is not being harvested. Oh, this SCV, no, it is not going to scout out the factory and the starport off to the north. This is absolutely huge. It looks like it will be a Hellion medevac cover fire drop here on Tal'Darim Altar. And this is going to be a very good strategy, as most of the times Terran players, just keep track of the ramp. They want to make sure that that ramp is very well protected. This bunker here, stationary defense. And now Marines are off over here as well. We are going to see more Marines make their way over. Hellions now making their way over. Medevac is being trained back at home, as more Hellions are going to be brought into play. Now the key question will be, where exactly do you want all of those units? Do you want to try to go behind the mineral line here, or perhaps a little bit of a drop right into this location here? This elevator is a little bit further away from all the units, but then again, this is the typical place that most players try to do an elevator drop, and Kaz is already ready for that. You can see that the Hellions are making their way over. We currently are sitting on 2 Hellions and 2 Hellions only. Yeah, there is the third, and there's the third Hellion there. I was wondering why the Hellion count is so low. It looks as though we are adding on a tech lab as well, so Happy going to be transitioning. And now we are going to be having 5 Marines. And what is this SCV doing? The SCV is simply on patrol. Is it going to be spotted? Yes, it is going to be spotted. Has to be very careful as the Hellions are going to simply drop down, torch down that SCV. And now where are these Hellions going? The Hellions now going to apparently attack the front door. And this is a beautiful move as there's only 1 Marine inside that bunker. The Marines could easily take down that bunker. Now the Hellions, maybe able to line up, get some damage onto a mule. Somehow Happy did not attack the bunker enough to actually destroy it. That would have been a huge, huge play, as now the Hellions are looking to do a drop in the back. Are the Marines making their way over? The Marines not quite sure where to go. Not enough information. 4 Marines on the front door. Hellions now ready to do a drop in the back. And who's going to come out on top? Here we go. 3 Hellions inside the main base. And that 3 Hellion is a magic number to do a one-shot on those SCVs. However, they were able to run. And during this time, Happy has set up his own ninja expansion. So Happy does have a transition here. It looks like he's running off of 2 bases when he's really running off of 3. Kaz, however, with a much larger army, should be able to just pressure in here very, very quickly. The problem is going to be how much damage can be dealt. Siege tech already done, so we may see some siege tanks lined up here and here to help cover this front ground location. We are getting up, nope, we are not getting up another command center, instead just going into mass barracks play, as we now see an orbital command being upgraded here. Now, this is a very smart move by Happy to call in the mules into this location. By calling in the mules here, he ensures that he's not going to strip mine his main base. Now, only a very observant Terran player would notice that, and only an observant shoutcaster would catch this drop here coming in. You can see Hellions and Marines trying to battle it up. The Marines getting in a lot of damage. The medevac was taken down. How many workers were killed? A total of 10 workers were killed. Harvester count now 40 to 35 as that last Hellion was destroyed. Let's take a look at the army tab though. Kaz with the much larger army still, but unable to really deal with the constant pressure and harassment from Happy. A 30 supply difference would indicate that Kaz is in the lead, but we do know that this expansion is already up and running here. 3 mules mining away, very effective. And on top of that, we can see Happy now setting up and allowing the game to go long. He has an advantage. He knows he has the advantage, so he doesn't really need to move out with a large group of units. When you're ahead, you just get further ahead. You don't want to risk it, anything too risky, and does tend to blow up in your face sometimes in StarCraft 2, where you think, yeah, you know, this game is mine, I got this in the bag, and then all of a sudden, the cards just don't fall right for you. Now, taking a look, we are going into siege tanks. More medevacs being added as well. We need to get up a 3rd or 4th Vespene Geyser and another command center here. This command center should be establishing here in just a moment. And if Kaz doesn't see a 3rd base, he may suspect that a ninja expansion is down somewhere on the map. That's what you need to do. You need to make it look like you cannot possibly have a ninja expansion anywhere when you do set up a ninja expansion. Otherwise, the other player might actually try to look for it. Armory is being placed down. Okay, I will add this as a caveat. If you do set up an additional base and have a lot of SCVs there, you could have a much smaller army. So that's one of those situations where you gotta really balance and make sure. You can see Kaz is moving out. He doesn't have combat shield yet, and that's a big surprise. You can see combat shield needing 20 seconds away. 2-2 upgrades also being researched. There is not much going on here. Also a sensor tower here. And I like this idea of the sensor tower here. You can see that this entire low ground location will be completely revealed, so no siege tanks can siege up on the low ground. But Kaz now coming in for what seems to be a massive drop. There is a missile turret though, and that missile turret and Marines, oh, this is going to be a devastation. Kaz losing a lot of those units. Oh, that medevac down to 17 hit points. That could have been much, much, much worse for Kaz. Kaz definitely dodging a bullet, only losing 1 medevac when he could have lost 2 medevacs, a total of 20 supply there. Now, It looks as though the Marines and the siege tanks are going to be cleaning up this location here. The Marines are making their way over, is going to spot the rest of these, and this one Marine is going to be in a bit of trouble. But oh, Happy does have siege tanks, and there's a blast, cleaning up a lot of the damage, and now forcing the medevacs to come over. The Marines going to finish off some medevacs. No, didn't chase after the medevac. A bit surprised. Happy could move some siege tanks over. We can see that there is 6 siege tanks in this group, as the units are now simply all regrouping once more. Massive number of mules still mining away here at the here at this ninja expansion. You can see Marines are getting in position. Let's take a look at the harvester count. 67 to 63. Army size much stronger for Kaz. Income about the same now that Kaz has his own 3rd base set up. So it is 3 base to 3 base, and Kaz, who would normally say, you know what, I don't need to attack since I am up on bases, is actually going to decide to attack here. And this is a little bit of a risky maneuver, since Happy does have the high ground. You can also see a command center now looking to come in. One Marine quickly falls. Siege tanks, Marines need a siege, and here we go. Those siege tanks are going to be sieging up here in just a moment. Only 1 siege tank for Kaz, but you can see the sheer number of Marines that Kaz has, as we are now going to be going into a drop. He still has to be very careful, though. There are missile turrets all along the side here, and this could end up being a problem. This one missile turret here, where are these medevacs going to go? Is that range of 7 going to be enough? I believe, oh, is going to fly straight in at that one medevac as well, and this might be, no, it looks like it should just be outside the, what is Kaz doing with that? Oh, Kaz going to lose 1 medevac, really needlessly there. That was a problem, as we now saw. I'm not quite sure what we saw over there. It looked like that siege tank got off a blast, but not sure why exactly. Command center now landing here at the 9 o'clock position instead, upgrading to a planetary fortress. You can see now 1 medevac, a whole bunch of Marines, and 1 siege tank now trying to make a move over. And these units are going to be able to scout this out, and Happy, very, very smart, deciding to lift off and now make sure that he doesn't lose this command center here. A new small tactical force here, which was easily taken out by the main force of Happy. Happy hoping to engage against Kaz in superior numbers constantly, as Kaz is actually a little bit split up between his units. He has a fairly large force out in the middle of the field here, but he doesn't have anything back at home. Kaz, oh, finally gonna spot this ninja expansion here. This is gonna be huge. You can see the amount of minerals that have already been mined out, and now Kaz knows that he is no longer in as dominating of a position as he originally thought he was. There is 8 Marines ready to go. This attack force of Happy now making its way over, but he will be going up against soon to be 2-0 siege tanks. Those 2-0 siege tanks are going to deal a lot of damage. Here we go. We could get a little bit of a flank here. Siege tanks are now sieging, both sides battling, and now 1 siege tank quickly destroyed. Happy going to lose this siege tank. No, both sides are scanner sweep, and this 1 siege tank with one additional upgrade able to deal enough damage to finish off these siege tanks here. But what is happening? A planetary fortress here at what I will call the 3 o'clock 4th base location. Siege tanks are just going to continue to blast away and destroy some SCVs. Some of those SCVs really have nowhere to go, as we are now going to see Kaz split off these forces. This is going to be huge here. What is going to happen? Marines now going to try to stim in. Marines now going to engage. Both sides engaging with a whole bunch of units. A lot of these Marines will simply fall, but they should be able to deal a lot of damage to these siege tanks. Yes, all the siege tanks are going to fall here. Who actually came out on top? The planetary fortress was lost, so I do believe that Kaz actually was a little bit behind there, as Happy now takes a slight lead, and now we see double command centers being built. Harvester count is about the same. You can see the medevac count and the Marine count. Everything is nearly the same in this matchup. You can see Kaz's siege tanks very low on hit points. They have to be very careful, as we are now going into 3-2 upgrades for Happy. Meanwhile, Kaz is already at 3-2 and now going into 2-2 with those siege tanks. Happy still has some Marines off over here, for some reason not engaging with them. Some SCVs now going to make their way over, only to get shot down here in just a moment. There's 1 SCV, there's 2 SCVs, there's 3 SCVs. So some Marines just hanging around all together. Oh, 4, 5, and 6. A Congo line into some Gauss rifles. Now, Marines now trying to engage. Kaz off over here. High ground advantage for Happy. Both sides are going to be exchanging blows, but Kaz getting off that first shot, will come out ahead once more. And now we could have an elevator drop here. If we have an elevator drop, this would be absolutely perfect. Happy would be in great position, as we are now going to see some units now dropping up onto the high ground. Siege tanks need to siege up. Here we go. Happy now in the straight production line. Siege tanks are defending by Kaz. Is there enough Marines? I'm not sure. I can't really pick them up. No. A lot of units on the low ground, but not enough on the high ground to deal with Kaz, who responded very, very well. Kaz now coming in with a very large group of units. Happy just says, you know what, I'm going to hold my line and try to destroy, focusing down the siege tanks first, those high priority units, those gas intensive units, and that was actually a pretty good trade. Production tab, 3-3 upgrades now coming in for Kaz. Happy now once again revamping all of his units. This expansion was taken down earlier. There are still medevacs off over here, not very much of anything, and is now 3 bases or 4 bases to 4, as the main bases are starting to mine, or the main bases have already mined out. So, army composition, slight advantage for Kaz. Harvester composition, slight advantage for Happy, as command centers are lifting off and going to land once more. It is going to be 4 bases to 4 soon, as no, it's going to be 4 bases to 5 soon, as Kaz finally establishes this base here. Marines are going to get dropped off down here on the low ground. What is happening here? Siege tanks are ready to go. Happy with a new round of units. Heavy production. Terran building armor for an additional 2 armor, as the siege tanks are going to siege. And what's going to happen? The Marines now trying to engage. The Marines very, very low on hit points, so they're going to take only 1 shot from these siege tanks before getting destroyed. Kaz, however, with the superior upgrades on those siege tanks, 2-0 compared to 1-0, coming out slightly ahead there. Happy will need to retreat again. Wow. So constant retreating. Happy now upgrading a planetary fortress here at the 5 o'clock 4th base location. This is technically his 5th base now, as the main orbital command is pretty much out of minerals, almost out of gas as well, as the Marines are now going to be doing a bit of shelling. Here we go, Marines now dropping straight up into this base here. There is 1 siege tank up on the high ground. The Marines now trying to finish off all those siege tanks. The medevac was destroyed. Siege tank now up off over here. What is going to happen? This siege tank is actually less DPS when not in siege mode if you don't account for splash. So these 2 siege tanks on the ground, enough to take that down very quickly, as we are now going very heavy into mules. The income of Kaz benefiting, but Happy still continuing to get slightly ahead. Now 3-3 upgrades nearing completion. It looks like the Terran building armor, yes, an additional 2 armor is now nearing completion as well. So the planetary fortresses will be very difficult to take down by Marines. 5 armor on those buildings there, meaning that those Marines, even at full upgrades, are only dealing 4 damage attack. Siege tanks now up on the high ground, shelling away on the low ground, and a beautiful position on these siege tanks just to make sure just beyond combat range. SCVs now trying to repair. They will repair, and it looks like it has enough of a repair here, as the Marines, Marines gonna take down 1 medevac very easily. Marines and siege tanks now still trying to push. The siege tanks are pushing off over here. It looks like there is a superior number of siege tanks by Kaz now, and is there enough sight up onto the high ground? All those Marines are backing off. Happy did a good engagement there. Kaz forced to move in with a larger number of siege tanks. Normally you need double the number of siege tanks in order to take down a fortified group of siege tanks. So that's what we saw there. 2-0 upgrades now going into 3-0. Happy now going into auto-sec tracking. Additional +1 range on the planetary fortress. Additional +1 range on the missile turret. 8 range, 7 range on the planetary fortress. Very nice, as we are still going strong in this game. Both sides, whoever makes the first mistake will end up losing. Happy now going into very heavy starport, and this is one thing I gotta say, Kaz is sitting on 3,000 gas. That is so much gas to be just resting on, that there's gotta be something better you can do. Ravens with auto turrets, Ravens with secret missiles, all very, very helpful. Kaz now finding a pretty undefended expansion here. Now we are going to be seeing some siege tanks making their way over. And what is going to be happening? There is 1 missile turret. That it could be bad news. The Marines now trying to take down that siege tank. It looks like the siege tank will fall. The Planetary Fortress going to finish off the rest of the Marines here. And now we are going to have a drop straight up behind the mineral line. Those SCVs not going to be able to do very much of anything. Planetary Fortress does not have auto-sec tracking, so it is not going to be able to target all of those Marines, but those Marines getting a little bit too close there. You now see siege tanks now on the low ground. We are going to have a drop, and what is happening? Are there Marines? Yes, there are Marines nearby Kaz with those medevacs. Those Marines shaking inside those medevacs, saying, please don't let us be cannon fodder for those siege tanks. Simply just unloading back up on the high ground. So far, base after base after base is being destroyed. We are now seeing Happy going into Seeker Missile with the Corvid reactor, and he's the one with actually less gas. This is a huge, but Kaz finding a lot of Marines and cleaning them up as they were caught in transit. Happy now pretty much stuck with only 4 medevacs, not much of an army here, and still Kaz with the larger army, but Happy with the much more intensive gas army, and now going into Ravens. Only 1 Raven being trained at a time. Not exactly sure what's going on here. The siege tanks do need to back off and now get in position. The sensor tower looks like it's going to get destroyed. Siege tank count 18 to 12. As we are now getting 3 Ravens up at a time. We are going to go also heavy into Marines, as the siege tank should be able to clean up this group. Actually, I don't know, that looks like a very, very nice put together group of units here. But we could see, I believe, where is that starport with the tech lab? All right, I know it's somewhere. Oh, off over here. So Happy with a whole bunch of starports with tech labs, but he doesn't really have that many Raven siege tanks. Now simply just going to walk in the old-fashioned way and clean up the rest of the siege tanks here. A massive Marine siege tank medevac army here to clean up this expansion over here at what I'll call the 5 or 4 o'clock starting location. The Marines will clean this all up with absolutely no problem, especially with siege tank support. The Planetary Fortress does have the Abicus cannons, so it does do that range of 7 attack. And the SCVs, this Planetary Fortress is actually coming out slightly ahead here. It could have taken down more of those siege tanks if those SCVs had actually bothered to repair. Siege tanks now ready to siege up here on the low ground, protect the high ground, as we are once again going very heavy into Ravens. 4 more Ravens being added to this group. And now what is going to be happening next? 1 medevac simply used for the high ground. There is a lot of siege tanks here. All of those units are going to get absolutely shelled. Siege tanks getting destroyed. Marines now trying to get in position. There are missile turrets here as well. It looks like there are going to be enough siege tanks to finish off the low ground. But Kaz really didn't do a good exchange there at all. You now see it is 115 versus 156 in terms of overall supply. This refinery was taken down. But at this point, Happy has enough gas, as he is going to be sitting on 7 Ravens, soon to be 9. And with 9 Ravens, even if Seeker missiles cost 125 energy, you can constantly just launch them. Those Seeker missiles deal 100 damage in an area effect. And we're going to see where these Seekers missiles are going to go. Those Marines are trying to run away. Oh, beautiful play by Kaz. I don't know if you actually caught that, but he picked up the Marines that were being targeted. And by picking up the Marines, those Seeker missiles just explode somewhere else. Marines now attempting to take down this planet, or this orbital command here. Kaz down to 113 supply. Happy sitting at 168. The Ravens still in the air. Seeker missiles could still be utilized. There are now 9 Ravens in the air, and those Ravens are going to be launching Seeker missiles just non-stop in just a moment. Vikings now looking to come in. Are we going to get perhaps a point defense drone? No point defense drone at all. Auto turrets being added instead. 1 point defense drone would have been enough, but there you go. There's the GG. Kaz losing this game here on Tal'Darim Altar. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 game here on Tal'Darim Altar.